I ordered DoorDash for my sick kid, and my neighbor called the cops claiming a kidnapping in progress. Here's the thing about being a parent. You spend years imagining worst-case scenarios. You childproof the outlets. You teach them not to talk to strangers. You convince yourself you're prepared. You're not. My son, Eli, was 11, homesick with a cold old enough to survive a few hours without me hovering. He texted around noon after for one to soup from his favorite spot. I ordered it on DoorDash and went back to my spreadsheet like a functioning adult. 15 minutes later, my phone rang. I answered, expecting Eli, saying the driver couldn't find the house. Instead, I got Mr. Ward. This is Officer Panita. We're responding to a kidnapping report at your address. Those words don't process right. Your brain rejects them. I made him repeat it. He said it slower, like I was stupid. A neighbor had reported a suspicious male attempting to remove a child from my home. The room tilted. I don't remember grabbing my keys or what I said to my boss. I just remember driving 90 and 55, calling Eli over and over, no answer. Every red light felt like a personal attack. Every slow driver was trying to kill me. Then my phone buzzed. DoorDash, your order has been delivered. I pulled out to find my street like a crime scene. 2 cruisers, lights flashing, 3 officers on my lawn, and in the middle of it all, a skinny kid in a Honda Civic holding a plastic bag of soup, like it was evidence in a federal investigation. The DoorDash driver couldn't have been older than 19. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in the last 15 minutes. This kid applied to deliver burritos, not to nearly catch a bullet over wanton soup. Miss was on her porch, giving her statement like she was accepting an award. I saw him lurking, circling the property, reaching for, I wasn't going to just stand there while a child was in danger, ma'am. He was checking his phone for the house number. That's called using GPS. I ran to the door and found Eli standing there in his blanket, soup in hand, completely unbothered. Dad, what's going on? The soup's here, but so are the cops. He'd been in the bathroom the whole time, didn't hear the knock, only came out when an officer rang the doorbell. The cops asked for ID. I showed them licensed DoorDash app order confirmation. The driver pulled up his delivery log. Mine was wonton soup, extra wontons, $14.99 plus tip. The most dangerous thing about the transaction was my sodium intake. The officer looked at Mrs. Dawson. Ma'am, this appears to be a routine food delivery. Well, how was I supposed to know that a man at a child's door? I was being vigilant, and she to me. Maybe if you were home with your son instead of abandoning him, this wouldn't be an issue. An officer pulled me aside before I did something stupid. Asked if there was a history with this neighbor. History. She'd filed 17 complaints in 3 years. The fence was too tall. The mailbox was the wrong beige. Eli's guitar practice at 4 p.m. was noise pollution. She once called the city because our Christmas lights were up past the 2nd of January 6. This woman had been trying to force us out since we moved in. This wasn't a concerned citizen. This was a campaign. The driver finally spoke. Kid looked like he had just survived a plane crash. I have a dash cam. It records all my deliveries. You can see everything. He pulled up the footage and handed over. The officer watched. I watched. Mrs. Dawson watched with her arms still crossed like she was about to be proven right. Footage was 23 seconds of nothing behind Honda Civic parking. A kid walking to the door with a bag, knocking, checking his phone, knocking again, waiting sirens and a video. No lurking, no circling, just a teenager trying to earn gas money. The officer turned to Mrs. Dawson. Ma'am, you reported a kidnapping in progress. She nodded. You said the suspect was circling the property. He pointed at the screen. This shows him walking in a straight line from his car to the door. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. You said he was looking in windows. He pointed again. He's looking at his phone, checking delivery instructions. You said a child was being removed from the home. He looked at Eli, still wrapped in his blanket, still holding the suit. The child was in the bathroom. The door was never opened. Mrs. A. Dawson's face went through about 6 emotions in 3 seconds, landed on defensive. I was being a responsible neighbor. How was I supposed to know you weren't supposed to invent details? You didn't witness an older guy from across the street. Mr. Brennan had been watching the whole thing. He walked over and said to the officer, she's been targeting this family for years. We've all seen that 17 complaints, maybe more. Miss Dawson looked around for support. Got nothing but closed blinds and turned backs. The officer said she'd be contacted by the department. The footage was being kept. False report, misuse of emergency services, reckless endangerment. This wasn't a whoopsie. The DoorDash driver raised his hand. Can I leave? I've got like 6 more orders. And he looked at the suit bag. Yeah, this is ruined. Mrs. Adaz got charged with filing a false report. He a fine. But the real consequence came from the HOA. 3 years of documentation finally meant something. 6 months later, for sale sign in her yard. She was gone before winter. I gave the driver a $200 tip and a 5-star review. Remained calm while nearly getting shot over soup. 10 out of 10 would order again.